Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Josh's Happy Hour. Cheers. Hopefully you are having the opportunity to enjoy a beverage during this happy hour. I'll give a moment or two for everyone to get in here to pour yourself your drink. As you can see, I'm enjoying a good old-fashioned beer, although for those of you that know me well, you know I don't eat gluten, so I'm embarrassed to tell you that my beer is gluten-free. Hello, I see everyone pouring in. It's good to see you guys. So it's been a little while since we've done a happy hour, and for two reasons. Number one is I was trying not to do one until I had something compelling or something to say that moved me, and number two is I felt like I needed a week or two with not drinking. Had been getting a little too frequent. So, but anyway, it is hump day, and I really am enjoying this beer already. So hopefully you guys are enjoying what you have poured for yourself, even if it's a non-alcoholic beverage. So our topic today, we're going to actually do a main topic and then two side topics. So we're going to get into, the topic was retail, game on or game over, and Jay Williams, who's on right now watching, he begged me not to talk about retail. How could you do that at this time? It seems so tone deaf, and that's exactly why we're going to talk about it. So we'll get into it a little bit. Well, anyway, I won't steal my thunder. And then we're going to talk a bit about just the latest and greatest on sanitation and reopening, and then even a little bit on the PPP loan, particularly for those who've gotten it. If you haven't gotten it, well, we'll get to that. You could maybe drop off at that point. So I want to just talk about that for a little bit. So retail, game on or game over. So why in the world, when all the problems that you have and all the things that you're dealing with as a salon getting ready to open, and the existential moment in our industry's time, would I ever want to bring up retail, which is just one of those things that people glaze over, been there, done that a million times. So let me tell you what is converging to make me and kept me up at night and made me want to do a happy hour about it. So there's kind of three things that I have been sitting back and just reflecting on, and have all sort of converged to the reason why we're going to talk about it today. So let's strap in, and here we go. So the first thing is, I'm sure like many of you, or I'm sure like me, many of you have had a part-time job lately just breaking down the boxes that are piling up at your doorstep of all the deliveries that you're getting. And I assure you that not only are you and I getting those boxes, every one of your customers is getting those boxes. And guess what? I bet a lot of those boxes are full of beauty products. And the real crime in this for me is that while we've been sitting here shackled to our homes, our businesses shuttered, the amount of retail flowing electronically through Amazon and who knows who else has been more than ever. So we're sitting here with our hands tied, and the likes of Amazon and Madison Reed and everyone is out there aggressively and successfully marketing to our customers. I saw an article, Madison Reed's business is up 3 times their normal volume. Isn't that exciting? Isn't that great? Now that's color. They do sell retail products. How much business do you think Amazon has spiked in beauty? So it isn't that, while people still aren't going to salons, they're still washing their hair, they're still using hair products, and they're getting them from somewhere, and it's not us. And so this electronic e-commerce wave that was coming anyway, I think in the last 5 weeks has advanced 5 years. It's accelerated what was probably going to happen anyway, but it's accelerated 5 years like that. And so that's one huge thing that's been preoccupying me, and it's sort of intersecting with the other two, which is see, Alexi said that Madison Reed's up 7 times. Last I saw was 3 times, so they're up 7-fold now. That's exciting. Isn't that exciting for them? Anyway, so that's point number 1. Point number 2. I'm sorry. Before I transition, the other part of this whole e-commerce thing, and I'm as guilty as anyone in this, is I think up until this crisis, I've been we've been fighting gravity. We have been trying to argue the case that, hey, this is a professional line. It should only be sold in my salon. And how dare the brand or anyone think that there should be this other e-commerce channel happening. And there is nobody that was screaming and yelling more than me about this. However, I think that the simple reality is, especially because of what we're going through, is that I think it's naive of me and of us to believe that a brand is not going to require some sort of e-commerce channel to be happening in addition to whatever physical retail they're experiencing. And unfortunately, the traditional salon and distribution channel has not allowed for that. And so that I think the idea that we're just going to snap back to the old way it's just not going to happen. And the brands they're not going to go back either. So that's one important point. Number two, life as a salon owner and as a hairdresser is not going to be like it was 3 months ago, at least for another 12 months, if ever. So if those of you that have been watching, hearing some of our brethren in Georgia or other states that have already opened, for me it's been Georgia, I think there might be one or two other ones. To hear what life is like in a salon right now in those areas, it's remarkably different. And while we're all clamoring to be open, and believe me, that's exciting to have that opportunity, it's going to be a long time before it's business as usual. And I don't know what you guys think, but if you were a salon owner in what was once a good economy 3 or 4 months ago, it wasn't easy to run a profitable salon then. So think of how are we going to do this when the cost of sanitation is going to increase on every single client that we have, when your booking time is going to be protracted in that you have to add time in between clients to do sanitation. You won't be able to book you won't be able to have your whole staff in at any one time for a protracted period of time. So we're not going to be able to be full staff like we were. And on top of it, we're probably going to be in an economic recession or worse for a period of time. So just the economy itself is going to be a hindrance or a wind in our face. It's going to be tough sledding, and it's going to be tough to be profitable even if you're the best salon operator. And so for me, in this new environment, every dollar of profit counts. And so you take the first fact, which is that we're likely going to be really impacted on the digital side with our retail, and you layer in how difficult it's going to be to just run the salon relative to what you were experiencing. You know, before I was thinking about an analogy, and I was thinking about the movie business, like if you own a movie theater. And we sort of, as an industry, have been operating previously, we've been operating movie theaters that really didn't care about how much popcorn we sold, and how much refreshments and Coca-Cola we sold. You know, sure, it's nice, but we really were focusing on ticket revenue only. And I just don't think our industry, given this new cost structure and constraints we're going to have, can survive without focusing on that other stream of revenue to keep us alive. I think, you know, I've been beating this drum, and you've heard everyone lecture you about how important retail is. But let me tell you, it's going to be even more important. That revenue will mean more to you now than it ever has before. So that's point number 2. Here's point number 3 that's been bouncing around in my head when I'm up at night. This one's a good one, though. The other 2 are not so good. I have been so heartened by the amount of chatter and emotion that I've seen in 2 ways. Number 1, the camaraderie that I've seen in the industry, not only from salon to salon, but within the salon, the amount of team and just emotion that I've seen where salons are just circling the wagons in a positive way and really coming together as a team. And if you're, particularly in salons that have great leadership, it's been really neat to see how the team has bonded over this just common enemy and common crisis. So not only has that been enheartening, but to see the value of what our industry and your salon represents in our economy and in our world, now that people don't have us, it's been incredible. And There's been a billion memes about it. I'm sure you've all seen them. Most of them are funny, but they all pretty much say the same thing, that, oh my God, no one realized how important hairdressers and salons were until they all of a sudden can go to one. And so I think that when you combine that point with the other two, it brings us to a really critical moment in time for our industry and for your salon. And so I think there's an opportunity to leverage that. And beyond just the salon, just the value of small business and what it represents to the American economy, I think we need to seize that opportunity. So before we get into what all that means, let's take a sip. All right, so let me first make a disclaimer that these ideas are literally ideas that, sleeping at night, not vetted. Some of these could be bad ideas, some could be good, some could be raw and you need to perfect these. And some of them are just maybe restating what you already know. But I believe we need to have a game-changing moment and mindset in our industry and in your salon. And so the first part of that is to just sort of segue from that last point I made about just that positive emotion that's happening. I think what we need to do, and what I would suggest you do, is get the team together, virtually or otherwise, Zoom, and to just create a rallying point about what the world's going to look like, how it's going to be different, and how selling products to your customers can literally be the lifeline that keeps this business alive. And it used to be it's the salon owner against the hairdresser. Oh, my stylist won't sell, and the stylist, my owner's up my, whatever to try to get me to sell. I'm not a salesperson. Those days are over. It is us against Jeff Bezos, us against a virus, us against companies that have no face to or any relationship in the life of your client, that they are out there trying to put you out of business. And maybe not intentionally, but that is the net effect of what they're doing. So even if it's as simple as, guys, we have all this added cost to keep a safe working environment. The only way we're going to be able to afford this without passing that cost on to you or to the customers is if we bond together and create a new energy around recommending products and encouraging our clients. They love you. Their hearts are in the right place. They need to vote with their dollars. And that's what I think you want to rally around with your stylists and your clients. And we've thrown out the idea of, one simple idea is we put the signs around the salon that say, hey, if you love us and you like the products we recommend, we appreciate you buying from us because it supports ongoing education in the salon. You could do a similar idea, but hey, if you like us and you love us, if you want us to, let me start over. If you like us and you love the products that we recommend, the proceeds from the products help us to provide a safe sanitization environment for you. Because that's the truth. The money has to come from somewhere, and if you could use the proceeds of retail to provide a safer and provide for the cost of sanitization or the cost of the booking, I think that's a compelling message. Maybe it's just that they want to support you because you're in a time of need. However you want to craft that message to your customers, I think it would be a missed opportunity. You're not begging. You're not asking for them to give you charity. All you're asking to do is to support your recommendation rather than giving it to somebody. And they don't even realize how much it matters to you because we've never told them. So that's one part. Here's another thing. And this is more of a temporary, potentially, while we're sitting on the sidelines. Video consultations. These are going to be important. If you heard my last happy hour, the video consultation to get people in your book because their hair is not going to be what they might have put box color. They have regrowth that's longer. Maybe it's now corrective color. Who knows what? That consultation should happen prior to understand how to book them. But also, why not pre-sell retail? Why not tell them that when they come in, you're going to have that retail waiting for them? Or you could do a video consultation and do curbside pickup to get the sale now. But either way, I would start working in the retail conversation into those video consults. Curbside pickup. I know some of us are doing it now. I am a huge fan. It is creativity, all hands on deck, so I think that's awesome. Maybe we need to do that forever. Why is it that we only get creative in times of dire circumstances? Maybe curbside pickup becomes a new phenomenon for you, just like takeout is always happening in restaurants. Let's talk about digital stores. So our industry is being so taken advantage of and has been for some time. We are the ultimate example of showrooming. You may have heard, if you haven't heard the term showrooming, it's basically when somebody goes into a physical store to try something or to look at it and then goes and buys it somewhere else. So imagine being a car dealership that you come in, test drive the car, and then you just constantly go buy it somewhere else. Well, that's what happens in salons. They come in, they test drive the products, and then they go online and buy it somewhere else. And so we can't have, as independent businesses, we can't not have a digital platform to sell our products. It's that simple. If you don't have a digital store, you and I cannot complain when our brands want to sell their products digitally. It is 2020. How can a company not think that their products are going to be sold online? So I would highly recommend you figure out a way to get a digital store. My Salon to Me is our version of that. It's turnkey. It's real simple. If you want to get signed up instantly, we can do it. You can build a store yourself. I would love it if all of our customers had a digital store. Either way, I don't care how it happens. Go build your own digital store. Facebook has a Facebook store where you can use social media and sell right over Facebook. To me, it's not about how you do it. It's about that you, and by default, me, because I'm selling our products through you, don't get cut out of the digital equation. And I know that in the past, there's been some constraints to what some brands may or may not have allowed digitally. And if any of my brands are listening to this, they might not have them saying this. I don't think those rules, I think it's out the window. As long as you're trying to sell to your customers specifically, you have the right, in my opinion, to have a digital store. And in this day and age, how can your business not have a digital store? So that's one way to eliminate the showrooming. Number two, or I don't know if that's number 3 or 4, sorry. Actually, I think I need a drink. Everyone get a drink. I see a comment. Brian said, the Chamber of Commerce said, curbside pickup for non-essential business in PA is currently not allowed. That could be true, and forgive me if I'm speaking out of turn, but I know a lot of salons are doing it. I won't comment more than that, I guess. Either way, My Salon to Me is available if you don't want to do curbside pickup. Let's talk about servicizing your retail. So that's a fancy word. You probably heard it thrown around, but it's about trying to blend service and retail together. The question is, okay, well, what does that mean and how do you do it? So the only advantage we have over any other e-commerce platform is we have the client in the salon. This is a new world. I think we need to just come up with totally new ideas, and I don't think we can, I think we need to realize that some of those ideas might sacrifice a little margin. Why not create an environment where all of our retail customers get some sort of heightened service experience when they come in the salon? Maybe that's a complimentary treatment with each service. Maybe if somebody is on an auto replenish, where every time they come to the salon, they get a discount when they get the product, but maybe they also get a heightened service experience. So for each of your salons, think about what that might mean for you, but try to link a service experience to the retail products. And we should, quite honestly, I think we should favor our customers that choose to vote with their dollars to buy their products from you, because it's not that just one thing I want to get clear to everyone and every stylist. It's not that they're not buying, they're just not buying from you. And when we get our heads around that, we realize it's not about money, it's about they're just choosing to buy from somebody else. And I think we should really take offense to that. And if not offense, we should really just understand that that's an opportunity that we're missing. And as an industry, we've been okay with it. We've accepted it, and I think we just don't have the luxury to accept that anymore. So I mentioned auto replenish. We're working on a way to do this technologically, but even if we can't, just using your own ingenuity, what if we just create an auto replenish where every 4 or 5 or 6 weeks, we're going to ship or let them come and pick it up, or with every service experience, if somebody's willing to commit that consistency to retail, they should have an incredible incentive to do so. Because where we lose the majority of our money, it's on the replenishment order. because we just aren't convenient when they run out and they're not in the salon. All right, moving forward, let's talk about getting the stylist involved. The 10% retail commission that we've been doing for a long time, I just think that that's not working. My opinion is I would go one way or the other, and I think there's debate as to which to do, so I'm not so passionate as to what you decide, but I can tell you that statistically giving 10% commission is not doing anything. I would encourage you to either give 20% or more for up to 20% for a period of time, or to eliminate commission altogether. Because it's either you're doing it to help the salon or you're doing it for the money. 10% does none of that. So I think you need to decide what's going to be the model and the way in which you approach it. But if you're going to pay your stylist to retail, it's going to have to be more than 10%, particularly in this period of time. Or if it's going to be about keeping it's about the teamwork and about keeping the salon alive, then don't pay them anything. They're not going to do it for the money. They should do it because they want to create a great salon and help to have a great work environment. So that's my thought on commissions and compensating your stylist. And the last thing would be, sorry, let me look at my notes here. Yeah, I think the last thing would be well, there's a question. Josh, are you talking about bundling retail with service? So, Lauren, I think I'm talking about bundling retail with service and talking about giving service away with retail. So, an example of bundling retail with service, the most common is when you get a keratin service, maybe you get the shampoo and conditioner free because you have to use that specific product. A lot of times that's built into the first price. I love that idea. That might not necessarily work for a traditional hair color service, but I would love to see bundling of retail and service, but I also think there's an opportunity to simply give service away with the purchase of retail. Why not find very low cost, quick treatments or things that we can do in the salon to enhance the value of what retail provides to our customers that our competition can't do? All right, so that, I try to keep these short. That I think is the summary of my impassioned retail game on or game over. I think that we're going to transition to two other topics, but I just want to shake us up a little bit because I know we've been so busy just existentially thinking about getting the salon open, but I just fear I have so much admiration for you guys as salon owners and what you do and the effort you put in. I just fear that if at best we go back to the same thing we were doing and doing it in this crazy social distancing world, we're not going to make it. So I think we just have to figure out a way to make retail a huge part of what we're doing, because it's the only way you're going to be able to afford this extra cost and cumbersomeness of what social distancing is going to represent in your business for at least the next 6 months or who knows how long. Okay, so next thing is just an update. I did a whole segment on your grand reopening, so I don't want to get into all that, but I just wanted to reflect a little bit on some of the new things that we're hearing and just a couple points. So number one, the thing that we didn't cover before, and I hear, sorry, I'm laughing at a comment. One of my personal friends is on here. What's up, Jackson? Nevertheless, one of the things that I'm hearing some salons are doing that I didn't bring up before is this idea of creating dividers between stations. And I've been doing a little homework trying to figure out what people are doing and not doing. And it seems like that it depends on the layout of your salon, first of all. If you have extra stations because you have more stations than stylists, you probably don't need to do this because you can spread out your team. But if you're pretty cramped and busy, and your stations are pretty close together, the dividing your stations is probably a smart thing to do. And it seems like there's two general strategies around this. Number one is some sort of shower curtain or hanging curtain or material, preferably something that is vinyl that can be cleaned, vinyl or plastic, that creates some separation, stops airflow, especially if you're doing a hair dryer. And then you can literally spray it down and clean it between clients. That's probably the more affordable route. It might not look as great. The other thing is to come up with a physical barrier. And some people are using things that look literally like office cubicle type things. I've seen literally acrylic versions of that, so they're see-through. Those are really cool because they're washable and you can see through them, so it doesn't make the salon look smaller. Some of them are on wheels, which is awesome because you might be able to use less of them because you can move them around based on where the clients are. However, those are very expensive. So if you think this is going to be something that we're dealing for the long term, and you have a smaller salon that you're trying to fit more people in a smaller space, that might be a route you would go. So I wanted to bring that up. Sorry, let me just look at a few of these comments here. Okay, I think I'm just going to move on here. All right, so one other part is, you may know this already, but face shields. It looks like face shields, literally not just masks, but plastic face shields over top, seem to be what people are using, particularly in Atlanta, and I think that's even been required in that state. Who knows what it's going to be in our area. But if nothing else, at the shampoo area where there's splashing and things, that's probably a good idea. But you might find it's what you need to do for all your stylists as well. That might be something you want to look at. We're looking at getting those. We're probably going to have some of those for you, but that's something that you may want to look into. Some of these are more questions than answers, but blow drying seems to be an interesting challenge because not only is it going to take time to blow out your clients, and that's time that in your book that you might be able to fit other clients, but it seems like there's some, the science is not clear as to whether or not blow drying is just blowing germs around the salon, and particularly maybe even at the hairdresser. So it seems to me that there's a lot of reasons that if you can minimize blow dries, it's in everyone's best interest. So whether that means you take a limited policy and not doing them, or limiting or asking if they want to forgo the blow dry to get out sooner. I just think that the less blow drying we're doing, probably the better for a very short period of time. Some salons are requiring their clients to come in with pre-cleaned hair. Obviously that shortens the window if you don't have to shampoo them and wash them. It also provides a little less risk with sanitation and things like that. So that may be something you offer as an option. It may be something you require, but that can be something that you look into. And then it looks like if you just look at some of the, again, very small sample size, but some of these states that are open already, they are absolutely booking differently and booking with 15-minute breaks or what have you in between for sanitation. Also for breaks, it sounds crazy you're taking breaks, but wearing a mask and a face shield, if you are all day without breaks, is rough. And so, time to sanitize your tools, sanitize the station. It looks like that's going to be probably the way to do this. So it'll be interesting to see how you guys decide to book, in addition to shifting and everything. And then pricing, absolutely. I want to just hammer this because I brought it up last time. Some salons are charging a sanitation cost per service. Personally, I'm a little lukewarm on that at best. I think it might come across not tasteful. But if you did it, I certainly wouldn't blame you. However, if you don't do that, absolutely what you need to do, in my opinion, is make sure you're charging for the color and the extra time that's going to be beyond what these clients are normally used to. You're going to be using more color because they have more regrowth. You might be doing corrective color. Whatever it is, you really want to consult and make sure you're booking properly and charging properly, because I would imagine almost everyone is going to be charged a little bit more than what they're normally used to for various reasons. And I think that's part of your consultation and booking when you get people back in the books. Okay, let's take a drink, and then I want to address something about the PPP. I keep getting asked questions, and so I want to bring it up. But if you haven't received the PPP, which really sucks, because I'm hearing countless stories of salons that were not able to get it. And if there's anybody, and I've heard of countless stories of businesses that did get it and that clearly don't have the need that salon owners have. So it's extremely angering and frustrating. On the flip side, I do know a bunch of salons that did get the PPP, and I want to talk to you guys about just the 8-week forgiveness period that's come up. So take a sip. All right, this is going to be quick because we're coming up against it. I'd like to be 30 minutes. So if you've received the PPP money, and you guys have probably read a lot about this and know a lot about this, but it seems like there's a little confusion on the 8-week thing and the forgiveness and what you can use the money for. And I just want to give you what my conclusion is, what the ideal situation is for salons. Disclaimer, this is just my opinion. Please do what you think the right thing is for you. So the 8 weeks starts the minute you get that money in the account. Not the minute you open, not the minute you hire a team back, the minute the money hits your account. So the question that all of you are going to face, the big question is, do you bring your team back right away, even though you're not allowed to be open, because that 8-week ticker started, or do you wait to closer to when the salon is open? So here's my opinion on how you make that decision. So most of our team is getting unemployment right now, and they're getting a decent amount of unemployment thanks to the extra $600 a week. So they're not starving. In fact, some of them or a lot of them are probably making more money than they made when they were working for you. So I think that's an important point in evaluating your decision making. So the best part of the PPP for the business owner is that you can use up to 25% of the forgiveness for rent and utilities. So if you're trying to do an analysis, the ideal scenario would be at minimum to pay enough payroll and associated payroll costs that enables you to get your rent and utilities covered for that 8-week period. So basically 2 months. But any forgiveness that you get above and beyond what your 25% of which would give you for utilities really doesn't serve a great purpose. It, in most cases, won't help your hairdresser. And all it will do for you is chew through your loan that you got. Because here's an important point that I think people are missing. The part that's not forgiven, you still get to keep that and use that for whatever you want, within reason. It's just that you have to pay that back in 2 years at a 1% rate. Now, for me, I like the idea of having some dry powder in terms of cash on hand to help fund the business if we need it to keep the business alive, that I'll have to pay back at a very low interest rate. But bringing the team back 100% now, when there's nothing they can legally do because you're mandated to be closed, doesn't really serve them, and I don't believe it totally serves you once you've gone over that amount to cover your rent and utilities. So when you do that analysis, if let's just say it comes to 4 weeks of your payroll gets you enough that 25% amount covers utilities and rent, then if you aren't going to be open more than those 4 weeks, my opinion is it doesn't serve you to rush everyone back. Now, everyone else might feel differently. I just wanted to clarify how I felt because I've been asked that a bunch of times, and I think there's some confusion around it. All right. We are officially done with happy hour. Oh, I gotta finish. So, as always, thank you. It's in a very, very, very insane time for all of us. I hope we will look back with complete wonderment and just reflect and tell stories and laugh about, do you remember when, do you remember this, remember that? But while you're in it, it's extremely stressful. I'm sure you guys are losing a lot of sleep like I have. And I just want you to know that we are, and everyone in our business, thanks you, appreciate you so much. And we're going to try to do whatever we can to make this a distant memory and get you back on your feet. So with that, cheers.